So, video diary number 2. And I know this isn't a week, it's quite literally the day after yesterday. But I feel like filming one today, so I'm gonna film one today. And yes, I'm wearing the same shirts because these are my pajamas. Because I went to work with my neighbor for the first time today. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad experience. I just don't think my body reacted to it. Like, my mental and like emotional and energetic self. I don't think it resonated with me because like it's the first day, so I'm gonna give it a minute, let it simmer. But like for some reason it invoked a lot of fear in me. Like I've been dealing with just a lot of fears resurfacing literally over the past like 48 hours because I knew this is I've sorry, I'm just preoccupied with my hair. I've known that this was coming up for a little bit now, and it's just like I don't know. It was good. I got up this morning, had my breakfast, made my breakfast. First of all, I ate my breakfast and it felt like I ate a brick. Like it was just French toast. I don't understand what that was about. So I had a couple of pieces of the leftover pizza and I was sufficed. And the thing is, so I take medication for my ADHD, and sometimes it just removes my appetite completely. And I will forget to eat. And one of the ways that I have recognized that I have yet to eat is I will get really fucking hangry. Like, really fucking hangry. And I just become an absolute bitch to everybody. But that didn't happen while I was at work. It wasn't okay. So we don't work for very long at all. It's just manual labor. It's just like short period of time. We just move stuff around. Some days my mom says that they like organize stuff and things like that. And it was just a lot of moving things up and down the barn. We swept because we were doing flood recovery still because the bottom floor of the barn got flooded, probably about a couple feet. So we were cleaning up debris for the first hour, 2 hour, I'd say. And then we were just moving things back around, redecorating, reorganizing, stuff like that. But it's not my space. It's not it's not for me. I feel like I'm behind enemy lines and that sounds a little harsh, but like our beliefs are not the same. And I'm not being like tut tut tut. You should think the same. No, I'm like I feel like I can't speak my opinion without getting like yelled at or persecuted to some degree. And I don't like feeling like that. It makes me uncomfortable. And especially when like it's my employer. So I'm just like I look around and I'm surrounded by paraphernalia. I think that's the right word I'm looking for. Looking it up so I can make sure I use it in the right context. Because if you know me, you know that, you know who I voted for. Yeah, I look around and I see Trump paraphernalia on the walls. And I already knew this, but then, and it's just like talked about, and I'm just like, I'm deeply saddened on like a soul level. and I just don't want to be there at that point in time. There's my dog. But yeah, so what happens? We move stuff. I move stuff all day. I liked being with the cats. I was hanging out with the barn cats quite a bit. Um, yeah, I really like the cats. um, and I like my boss too. She's nice. My neighbor, she's a nice person. It's just we don't agree fundamentally, and that's really all there is to it. But that's the thing. I don't fundamentally agree with my parents either. I don't fundamentally agree with any of my immediately surrounding family. I think I may fundamentally agree with a couple, like two of my neighbors, one of which I am not in contact with. So I'm just like, I'm on. This feels like the question where it's like, if you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 items, what would you bring? this I'm on the deserted island, and I'm trying to figure out what items I need to bring right now. But I go there, moving stuff around, taking care of the cats, cleaning, um, more cleaning. It's really just a lot of cleaning and reorganizing and moving stuff. And I'm the youngest person there. I'm turning 20, and then it's my mom, and then a couple of older women who are like 15 to maybe 20 years older than my mom. And so I am the pack mule. I'm doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and that's nothing new to me. That's what I've done pretty much my whole life. I've always been the brute strength. Um, yeah, that's pretty much always how it's been. Like, my sports teams, my friends. I mean, I'm the youngest in my family, so sometimes it was me in the family. If not, obviously, I was not always second place to my dad, but sometimes that's how it felt. So, I was doing the heavy lifting, as one does. Everyone was like, this is heavy, and I'm like, light work, no reaction. Light work, no reaction, but obviously that takes a toll on my body, whether or not I do or do not feel it. Especially where I'm out of shape. I've not been on my game. It's winter time. I've not been able to get outside. It's been snowy and icy and fucking cold. So I've not been keeping up with my health like I'm supposed to have been. Excuse me. I hear the mice. The mice are skittering about in my ceiling. um. Anyway, moving past that. So, obviously, I'm really tired after moving a lot of stuff, like especially heavy furniture, um, and whatnot, for like going on 3 hours. And we took breaks here and there, but I have a really, really, really extremely bad habit of skipping my breaks. I've always done this during sports, sometimes during like my retail jobs, which I should not have done for any reason whatsoever, but it's literally just like a thing in my brain where I like, because I live in fucking America and it's work, 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 work. You have to work for everything that you have, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Looking at it now from like an outside perspective, I'm like, blink, blink, blink. You should not have to work to be like a human being. You should not have to like work yourself to the bone to have the bare minimum. I don't understand how some people don't get that concept. But so with that being drilled into me at such a young age, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna use this 2 minutes of extra court time that I get because I didn't take a water break, or uh, I don't know, a couple extra bucks. But then I was like, I'm I stopped for a second because I was starting to not take breaks. And once I realized, like, cuz like my mom and them, they took a break, and I didn't. I just sort of kept going, and I was like, "Hold on. Hold on a minute. Time out. Take a fucking break, dude. Like, you're you're not being supervised. You're not on the clock. You're just here helping out. Take a fucking break, dude. Cut yourself some slack. Give yourself some grace." So, I've always been really hard on myself. Like, my entire life. Like, it was unrelenting. I remember me and my family have had this discussion multiple times. I've always been really hard on myself. And so I'm trying to apply that mindset and work out of it because it's exhausting. But I have nobody else to blame but myself because I'm working myself to death. When, like, people don't understand that we were born into a society that's been built to work us to death. So we do feel obligated to take up jobs that we hate to survive. When ideally, we should just be able to do the things we enjoy and survive. Like, I don't understand how some people don't get that. Like, I was talking to my dad because the internship that I applied to, like, yes, it'll be a job to a technical standpoint because it's a paid internship, but it'll be something that I actually enjoy. Like, this, I'm just moving shit. I don't enjoy this. Like, this isn't something that I really want to do. Um, but, like, what I hopefully, if I get the position, I am going to do, it's not gonna feel like a job because I'm excited to be there. Like, we're set up with the pretenses that it's on, like, you're lucky if you get to do that, and like that's a mindset, and I'm like, it doesn't have to, you don't have to live that way. And I am inherently speaking from a place of privilege, and I'm very lucky to have that. But, like, that's why we gotta dismantle the fucking system because it's broken, and it's been broken from the start. We don't need to fucking work ourselves to death. It makes me so sad that people think that we do. Like, my dad has it drilled into his head. I don't want to get on about that. That's not what I'm here to talk about right now. I'm here to talk about. Yes, I haven't even finished the course of my workday yet. I'm all over the place, but that's how I normally am, so that's probably how it's going to continue to be. Maybe it won't be, maybe it will be. Maybe it won't be when I actually get to do something that doesn't make me feel really frazzled. But yeah, moving stuff, clean up, flood recovery. Yeah, comes the end of the day, and like, I just guess I tried to prepare ahead of time because we knew it was going to be cold. So I brought gloves and I doubled up on layers of socks. So I thought I was good to go. I was prepared. Wrong. Wrong. My gloves are like winter gloves, and yes, they're good, but like I need like the leather gloves. So I had to borrow a lot of my mom's gloves, like a good handful of the time. My winter gloves don't really do shit, and then I got them dirtied, and I was like, well, I don't want to put my dirty gloves back on. So, but I'm gonna have to wear my dirty gloves anyway because we're working in a fucking barn. So I gotta get over that. When it and my socks, like, I don't know. I guess for like the first hour of sweeping, I guess I got pretty hot and I sweated through some of my socks. So by the end of the day, my feet were fucking freezing because my socks were wet and it was cold. It's concrete floor in that barn. It's in the shade. It's really cold here. So I was like, my hands, and I had to do. I was washing some things too, and they're like, we weren't using running water. We were using water in a bucket that had ice in it, and because it's been cold, it's frozen. So my hands were red. My hands get really cold really fast, anyways. Like sometimes I can't go on my walk without gloves because my hands just get red. I had an issue throughout this winter with my knuckles cracking and bleeding because my hands were so dry and cold because they get cold and they get dry and then they crack and bleed and hurt. And like sticking them in warm and hot water made them hurt and dry out more and bleed, and it was just awful. And so hands red, really cold, started bleeding at one point from how dry they were getting, and then feet really cold, also red. It was just not good. And that was literally like only 4 hours. That was a 4 hour work day. It's not long or anything like that. Um it's just constant labor intensive, and that's why like we work as a group because, the more the merrier to get all the heavy lifting done. But it wasn't only me doing the heavy lifting. But it's also been a minute since I've really done much labor intensive work because I do some here around the house, but I haven't really done any on somebody else's time in a while. So I guess just that, and then being around them while they were doing their chatting, and just I didn't another place where I just don't fit in. So, and I could feel that. I was very much the outlier, and I'm just like, girl, that's not me. So, um, and also I didn't have lunch. So I ate breakfast at around 9, got out of there at like 2 something, 2:30. I didn't have lunch, and because like I already forgot. Already forgot to eat. My stomach don't tell me I'm hungry, so I forget to eat especially if I'm busy or doing something. And so immediately, as soon as we get in the car and we're leaving, like my feet hurt, my hands hurt, and the boots that I have no soles. They're pretty shitty boots, and so my the arches of my feet were hurting, and so that put me in a bad mood. And then Hanger put me in a bad mood, and I was like, okay, I'm in a bad mood. I need to eat. And my mom and I, we went to the grocery store because she was like, I'm gonna make a chicken pot pie. Did you eat all of the celery and carrots that we got recently, perhaps? Because we were sort of gonna make chicken soup or chicken pot pie at some point this time, like within the last week or so. It was when we went shopping. Um, that was originally the plan. We just never got around to it, and so I like my vegetables. So yes, I ate the celery and I ate the carrots. And I was like, no, we don't have any. So we went to the store and we went shopping, and I was like, I'm hungry. We're at Save a Lot. There's not really any like meals here. I can't just buy something and eat it. So I got trail mix. And of course, I made. Tired. I made a hasty decision when it came to the trail mix. And as soon as I got it, like, it was an instant regret scenario because I normally pick tropical because I love the dehydrated fruit. But also, I've been craving, like, white chocolate recently because I haven't had white chocolate in a minute, I feel. And so I got the one with the white chocolate in it. But turns out there was a lot more fucking chocolate in it than I expected. And I was literally hunting for the almonds and the cashews and shit. And I was so frustrated because I was like, this chocolate is the peanut butter is starting to make me mad. I just want the food. I want the protein. My body wants sustenance, please. So it was just stacks on stacks irritating the fuck out of me. It was like my mind was being put through a cheese grater. It was not a fun time. And then we got home. Oh my god. It had only gotten worse because I was still hangry. The hanger was it was still going. And I thought I had quelled it a little bit, but not entirely. So my feet are still really cold because they're in wet socks, and like my hands, they'd warmed up a bit. I'd warmed them up quite a bit in the car, so it was not as bad. But at that point I just wanted to be home. And so we got home and I was ready. I was ready to sit down and read my book that I've been thinking about all day. And my dad calls me. My dad never calls me. My dad doesn't call me for many reasons whatsoever. So I was so mad. Nobody calls me. That's the thing. Nobody calls me. And I'm not too mad about that. So my phone starts ringing. I hear it vibrating. I say, "Who the fuck is fucking calling me right now? Are you fucking serious?" Because I'm just so mad. I'm absolutely fucking fed up. I'm tired. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything but sit the fuck down. That was it. All I wanted to do was sit down on my couch. That was it. So, it's my dad. At first, I muted him and I threw my phone because I was like, "No. No. Why are you calling me? Call mother. Talk to mother. You have no reason to be talking to me right now. Why are you talking to me?" But reluctantly, I finished doing what I was doing. I was changing. I was changing into this because I wanted to get out of my dirty work clothes that I'm going to end up wearing tomorrow. Because we're probably going to be doing the same shit. So, I changed clothes. I grabbed an AirPod, put it in. I'm like, what? Well, that's not what I said. I don't know. I answered the phone. And he tells me that we have another load of wood coming. And that the load of wood might get there before he does. So he was like, just direct them where to put the wood. And I was just like, fine. Because mom was in the house making dinner. And the signal can be really, really choppy. So I was not trying to have an extended conversation. And I wasn't going to question him over the phone. And it was going to be a lot more dramatic. I didn't want to make it any more dramatic than it already was in my brain. So I just cut it short. I was like, fine, whatever. Because first thought in my mind was, have you even talked to mom? Have you tried to call mom? Because I told him, I was like, we just got home. Mom and I just got home. We went to work. And the store, she's making dinner. But then I was like, mom's making dinner. I can tell the wood guy where to put the wood. It's not that big of a deal. Even though I didn't want to talk to anybody, I didn't want to deal with anybody, I didn't want to see anybody. All I wanted to do was sit the fuck down and read my book because my head hurt so bad. My head was hurting. Not only my hands were hurting, but my head was hurting because that's what happens when I get really fucking exhausted and I get really fucking tired and I get cranky and I get mad and my head hurts and that worsens my mood by tens. Tens of thousands. I was gonna say tenfold, but I said the word by, so I realized that didn't really work there grammatically. Um, and so, bam, waiting mode. I'm like, okay, so now I can't relax because the truck guy, like the wood guy's gonna show up, and I have to deal with him because dad hasn't talked to mom and told mom anything, which he didn't. Cause I sat up here and I read my book and I was like, okay, driveway's literally right there. I can pay attention to that. I can hear that, but I couldn't exactly focus on my book, so I was waiting for the wood guy. So a little while passes. I go down to the house. I'm like, Dad's got wood coming. Mom's like, what? Dad has more wood coming? I said, yeah. He not talk to you? I said, and I didn't say shit. She said, no, she had no idea. Dad hasn't called her or anything. I was like, yeah, well, Dad called me. And he told me to tell the wood guy that wood's coming. And the wood might not be here. Dad might not be here when the wood gets here. So, yeah, that was that. And I just lurked around the whole time. I stayed at the house at that point because I was like, I don't want to go from up to the house. I don't want to go up to the house, back up here, back down there. So I just sat on the couch and read my book for a little bit because it's closer to the driveway down there. Because like sometimes I can't make out if there's a vehicle coming up the driveway or there's a vehicle going down the main driveway, not coming to our house. So I can tell that much better when I'm in the main house. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay down here for a minute. It'll be fine. Chill out. Try to relax. Um, but yeah, no, I still couldn't exactly relax. My brain was still going, and as much as I don't exactly remember what I read. Like I reckon I can skim the last few pages and understand what I read, but it wasn't particularly an enjoyable experience, and I don't like that. So, noted for future reference. And eventually, luckily, my dad does get here before the wood guy, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Weight off my shoulders. I was very thankful for that. I was like, okay, awesome. Now I don't have to be down here anymore because it's just so stressful. If you know anything about ADHD and know what waiting mode is, like, it fucking sucks. It feels like you always have to be on your toes because if you put it to the back of your mind or even forget about it for a split second, there's a chance that time could lapse pretty much. Lose track of time and, like, I don't know. Being caught off guard isn't fun. So, yeah, that happened. And by that time, dinner was almost done. And so I had like a small battle in my head. I was like, well, do I want to go up to the cabin for like 15 minutes and then just come back down here for dinner? But then I was like, I don't want the wood people to show up and just walk past them or around them. I don't want to interact with anybody. That was the thing. I was done with people. I was done interacting with people. Like, honestly, I wouldn't have had as much of a conversation with my dad as I have today if he didn't call me. because I just don't want to fucking talk to people. Like, being an adult in my own space, I shouldn't have to talk to people, like, as frequently as you do, you know? Like, the way I see this is having my own house. If you have your own house, and a lot of the times, unless you are neighbors with your parents, and you want to talk to them every day, you talk to them every day. But me particularly, that's not how I feel. That's not how I want to be. I want to have my own space and, you know, be able to just be myself without other people. So, but I can't do that because I still need to go to the main house for the facilities. So, it's kind of, they're unavoidable until I move out. Yeah. Uh, so, I just, I lost the battle. I didn't come up here and hang out because I was like, I'm gonna end up running into the wood people. And I was right. That's what would have happened because they showed up while I was having dinner. And, or like right before, not while I was having dinner, but pretty much right after dinner was finished. And so it was cooling. And that's when they showed up. So that happened. I had my dinner. Chicken pot pie was fire. Mom makes really, really good chicken pot pie. And I read my book, and I got that, like, I could finally start absorbing it because I didn't have to worry about anything else going on around me at the minute. And that was nice. I didn't. I, sometimes I just. I get the angry brows and like the middle of my forehead wrinkles a lot, and I'm like, why am I so angry looking? It's because I'm frustrated, like, a lot. I'm very frustrated a lot of the time. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to be frustrated. That was a big thing for me the last few years of high school. I was like, I hate that I feel like I'm mad all the time. I hate that I feel like I'm just constantly mad. I'm constantly angry. And then the fact that I'm angry makes me even more angry because I don't want to be angry. Um, that eventually got worked out, and I'm remembering how to work that out again because I don't have to be angry. Sure, I can be angry, but I can also be other emotions at the same time because it's not black and white, it's not polarity, it's not specifically this and this at different times. Like, more than one feeling can coexist at the same time. So, yeah. And then after dinner, I got on social media for like not even 10 minutes. The first time all day because I have no cell service over at my neighbor's. And I didn't bother getting on my phone in the car or anything like that when I went to the store. So I end up, and then I'm just like horrified at what I see going on in the world. And that just, after having such an exhausting day, like physically, mentally, it always hits me like a fucking bus emotionally. As a child, I used to have like long cries every single night. Every single night without fail. And it was because I was fucking tired, and not like just tired physically, but also emotionally, like mentally. I was so mentally tired. I was so mentally exhausted that I like could not help but just feel so sad. And I saw his post, and it's just another reflection of repeated shit that's going on in the world that, if you know, you know. And I was like, I don't know where. I can't see the future, obviously. No one can exactly predict the future. But still, there's a slight fear that things just proceed to decline. And that scares me. It scared the absolute shit out of me. And me being the person that I am, I've always had the tendency to, since I was little, and I don't know, at some point in time, it was sort of wormed into my head that, like, I was oversensitive or I was over emotional because of how frequently, like, I cried and I got upset and stuff like that. So I have a hard time expressing my emotions when I need to express them. And the only times that I can really do that is when my body and my mind cannot handle it, like, any longer. So, specifically, if I get, like, really, really tired, or really just, if I endured some form of, like, physical pain, that will lead to exhaustion and irritability. Like, I got my tattoos, and after that, I was just fucking irritated and tired and exhausted because the tattoos, they they hurt a bit, but it literally, like, blanked my mind. Like, I was talking to my artist, and we were having a discussion, but the things she literally said, like, 3 minutes prior, I was trying to make a mental note of, but I could not form a thought. It was just empty because I was trying so hard not to focus on the pain in my body that I just totally went blank in my mind. So I couldn't receive it at all. Like, I even told that to one of the ladies I was working with today because she saw how red my hands were and she knew that I was washing shit in the ice water. And she was like, honey, your hands are gonna be so cold and sore. They hurt. I was like, yeah, but they're cold all the time and they hurt. So at this point, I've learned to just block it out. That's not good or normal. I don't need to do that. I need to acknowledge the fact that, hey, my hands are fucking cold and I need to take precautions against that. There's me doing that fucking angry eyes again. But, yeah, as soon as I finish my dinner and I'm like, okay, I'm done looking at social media because this is the cherry on top of my shit cake that I made today. And I immediately get up here sobbing, breaking down, fucking crying. And then my cat's at the door, whom I just let out of the main house. And so he sometimes ventures outside, but then he comes up here, and I don't have a litter box or anything for them because they're not in here that often. I used to. When we first moved in, I was like, the cats are probably going to come up here. They never fucking came up here. It took them a year until one of them started to come up here. And so I got rid of the fucking litter box because I use the unfinished bathroom that we have for storage. And I was like, I don't need a fucking litter box that doesn't get used. And he just meowed at the door. And the thing is, whenever I am crying or like in a really, really extremely emotional state, I will get, like, I'm already past the point of overwhelm. So he's meowing at me and I'm yelling. I'm like, no, no, I won't let you in. You're not coming in because he's boy cat. Boy cat, he just wants love. He will crawl in your lap any chance he can. He'll rub on you, he'll rub on your face. He specifically loves to push his face on your face. And he loves to just be all over you. And I cannot stand that, especially if I am just crying. Like, typical body response, sometimes your body will heat up and stuff like that, especially if you are exuding such emotions and like just in that sort of state. And so I was like, I don't want him on me, because this small feline creature that doesn't understand what's going on just wants love and is just weirdly petting itself all over your body in odd ways. And I'm just like, I don't want that. I can't have you around here. And sometimes he's chilling. He's chilling though. He's my good cat. Um, he followed me home from the cemetery one day in elementary school. That was really fun. It was like fourth grade. He's a good boy. Yeah, he's a good boy. But sometimes he likes to pee on things, and so sometimes I'm wary to let him in here because I can't see what's going on back there behind that wall in the other room. I don't know if he's gonna piss in there. And we've always had like not a lot of cats, but we've had like 2 to 3 cats at a time, maybe just one cat, but like three cats at a time. And one of them, most of the time, recently, they've been okay because we only have two now. Um, so we haven't been dealing with the cat piss smell in like quite a while. Every now and again, he will just pee on something, and I'm wary to let him in here because I'm like, dude, I don't want you peeing on my shit. I do not want you stanking up my house like cat piss. I'm not down for that. So sometimes I don't let him in, especially if I'm not gonna be in here. But like, I don't I don't want not I don't want to not give him affection. So I was like, I literally just yelled no, and then he meowed again, and I yelled no again. And I was like, you're not coming in. And then I sat and I cried for a minute, sobbed a bit, got it out, and then I let him come in. And I was sitting down crying, and he was just kind of looking at me. He was like, what's going on? And then I stopped crying for a minute, and he came to give me some loving. And I was like, okay, I think I'm done. So I'll 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 situate myself so you can be comfortable too. So I laid down so he could come lay on me. We'd, we'd hang out, have a good time, but I started crying again, of course. And he up and got. He was like, you're leaking water and making really peculiar noises. I don't really want to be a part of this. So he went and he just made himself comfortable elsewhere, wandered around for a minute, and I cried it out. But it was really because I couldn't. I've sort of convinced myself that I'm too big and bad to be scared of things. And so recently, oh my gosh, one of the people I follow on Instagram, they posted a little the Instagram notes where you can type something in the box or whatever, and it can be anonymous. It was secrets, and I was like, I'll share a secret, but then I literally thought I was thinking for an hour, and I just kept coming up with fears, and I really didn't like that. Like a deep part of my brain was like, You gotta have something else other than fears going on. Why do you have so many fears? Why do you have so many fears that I thought we worked through? Why are you scared of so many things? There's no reason to be scared of any of these things. I was like putting myself down because I have fears like a normal person. And that was sort of a reoccurring theme today as well, because I was like, I'm scared. I'm scared and I don't want to be scared. And I don't like that. And that really tore me up for whatever reason. Because I don't like being scared, because I've always been Mrs. Hyper Independent. And I don't like that. Because I'm scared of people. Shocker. The scared girl is fucking scared, so she acts like she's not scared. Cliche 101. But the thing is, that's like, sadly, like really normal. So I'm working through that because I don't want to be closed off to everybody. I hate that because I'm missing out on things that I can learn from people, even if we don't see eye to eye, you know. But then there's sometimes, like, it's really hard finding where to draw the line in being able to learn something from somebody and realizing where the relationship is not beneficial and where you are currently not able to learn something from somebody in particular. And so that's how I'm sort of looking at me working at my neighbors. I'm like, okay, here's the line. Is it I can learn something from this? Because you can always learn something from the world around you. But, or is it teaching me things that I already know and really just devastating my mental and emotional health? But I think it's very important that I address the fact that it's okay to be afraid. Because I was like scared of being scared to begin with. Because I was like, I don't want to have these fears. I don't want to even think about these fears. Because I didn't want to I didn't want them to have any possibility of becoming reality. So I was like, I don't even want to think about them. So I don't want them to exist. I don't want them to exist in my mind nor the world around me. So I just tried to shove them as far back as I could and act like they didn't exist. That didn't work. And it actually was a lot more mentally taxing than I originally anticipated. Other than just feeling the fears when I felt them and moved on. But no, I filed all of my fears into an imaginary filing cabinet and I hid them away, and then the filing cabinet got shoved to the front of my mind and forcibly went through without my consent, and I was scared going through the filing cabinet, and I felt like I was stuck in the filing cabinet because I was consumed by it. I was like, because that's how I am with my emotions. I get completely and utterly consumed by them. And that's how it has been for a long time. But it only gets worse if you become afraid of feeling the emotions and push them off to the point that they build up. Then they do consume you. And I learned that the hard way too. And I'm still working through that. Because feeling all the pain and sadness and grief and fear, it might consume me, but it consumes me a hell of a lot more when I act like they don't exist until the point that they fucking hold me down and are like, hey, address this shit right now. Right fucking now. Like, you don't get a choice now. So Yeah. I am working on feeling my emotions in the present moment when I feel them, when I start to feel them, because it is important to address, opposed to shoving them to the back for later. Because no, it is not a future you problem, because you are future you, and it's gonna hurt a whole lot fucking more if you leave it to future you. So just deal with that shit now. Get it done and over with. That's not gonna eradicate it forever, but it's going to make the hurt fucking hurt less. So, tomorrow, my mom is going to work elsewhere. She does, like, a little bit of a freelance sort of job. I'm not gonna go too much into that. But she's gonna go over to a lady we know and help out over there, help clean up and stuff, help watch this lady's mother. Um, and I am going to go to Mary's. Oh, name drop. Whoopsies. I'm gonna go over to my neighbors by myself tomorrow. This will be like my third or fourth time over there. And I'm a big kid. I'll admit, I'm a little nervous, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. If it is too bad, I'll know afterwards, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. I didn't particularly use my mom as a crutch today. Towards the end, I could tell I started to hover around her a bit more because I was getting really fucking drained and hurting, and I was like, I hurt. I hurt a lot on a lot of levels. When do we leave? When do we leave? Yeah, we left at like a normal time, so I don't think it's gonna be too bad. But I cannot say that I'm looking forward to it. But it's gonna be some experience I need that I get. Ever, ever. It's gonna be some experience that I guess I need. So, and it's some cash, which cash really ain't shit, but in it for the experience, in it for getting out of the house. But if I come home and I'm really, really mad and I just start crying again, and then I forget I have plans Wednesday. So I do not know if I'm going to work Wednesday. I might tell her that I have plans because she's a very nice person to, like, she will help work around stuff and whatnot. She'll help with working around schedules. But I'm just like, I don't know. I got to pet an all white cat for the first time in my life, I think, today. And that made me so happy. That was probably the highlight of my day because I've always saw them. My grandma talked about she used to love white cats. She was like, "They're my favorite." We always had a white cat, and I was like, "That's so crazy." Because they're genetically mutated. And they're more likely if If the cat has blue eyes of any sort and they're white, that immediately increases their chance of blindness and deafness by like a multitude of percentages, like close to 30 to 50%, um, because of how many gene mutations they have at that point. Because cats only have two genomes, and that's color orange and color black. And all the other colors and mixes and spots and patterns and designs, whatever, are gene mutations. And I found that was very interesting when I learned that, because I've always been a really big cat lover. I fucking love cats. Yeah, it's getting to be bedtime. It's 9:30. God damn. God damn. I thought it was like 8 o'clock. Yeah, my time is fucked up. But my sister's coming soon. My sister's gonna be here next week. My sister that just got married, Shelby. She's gonna be here next week, and I'm very, very excited to see her because I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her since like what? Oh, September. Cause September's my niece's birthday, and Shelby came for my niece's birthday, and she did wedding dress shopping. So she stayed for about a week, and that's when I saw her last. So I'm very excited to see her again because since she's moved to Texas like 2 or 3 years ago, we don't get to see her very often, and it's really nice because we're close. We aren't my two. I have two sisters. They're closest in age. They're 2 years apart, and me and my middle sister are 4 years apart. Oldest sister is 6. And so, me and Shelby, we, whenever they would stay over, we shared a room because we were the two younger ones. Sydney always got her own room, but I've I've sort of always been closer. Not always, but majority of the years I was closer with Shelby. So with her being further away, it's a little bit difficult because I'd probably say now I'm still closer to her. And I like I don't see a problem with that. I used to have a huge fucking problem with that. Oh my god. No, because shout out being a kid and getting taught fucked up concepts of love. Shout out, I learned like everything that I knew from television. And so, or like, no, my mom had so many siblings. My mom had like 7 plus, like through like step siblings, half siblings, like all together, taking out the first parts, just all around siblings. She had like 7 plus, and so like she had siblings that she was really close with all the time, and my like she was like one of the youngest, I do believe. And she always told me stories about how she had such good relationships with her siblings, and so when I was sort of picked on by mine, I thought they hated me. I was I was literally like 14 when I realized my sisters weren't bullying me and they didn't hate me my whole life. They just had their own shit they were dealing with that they didn't know how to deal with, and they did what siblings do, which is pick on their siblings. I literally thought they hated me. We didn't grow up together like all the time. They they have the same dad, but I have a different dad than they do. We all share the same mom. So they primarily lived with their dad. I, my, our mother, and my dad. And so we got to see them on occasion, and I would just want to be with them all the time because, I'm a younger sibling. I was like, I love you guys. I just want to spend time with you. I just want to be close to you because I love you so much. And they wanted their space and stuff like that. But I was so young, I literally didn't get the concept. I couldn't grasp it. And nobody really told that to me either. That's the thing. Like, we just leave kids in the dark. We don't really explain to them what's going on. And it's really damaging. And I noticed that in other ways too. Like, and seeing that being older, like, it's really fucking crazy. Life and the stages of life are really fucking crazy. And I don't like how we exist through them. So, I'm trying to change that. Like, I don't want there to be any reason to keep secrets. Or to not be able to explain what's going on. Because why create more confusion and more unnecessary stress? You could call it character development, or you could call it trauma that needs to be worked through. Why make them do more work that they already have to do to live in the current world that we live in? I don't know. Shit's crazy. It makes my head hurt. My head's currently hurting. I'm gonna wrap this up. We're over an hour now. This is my yap sesh. It's been a really fucking long day. And it's like, I'm not gonna say it's not been that bad. It's just different than what I'm used to. And it's probably not for me. Because I had a feeling when I agreed to this. I was in it for the gardening. I was in this shit for the gardening. I don't want to be a fucking pack mule anymore. That's what I've been my entire life. I've been the only one around when it came to helping out with the chores and shit like that. So I was always helping my dad, like, stack wood and do the other shit. I've always been tomboyish. I've always been manly. I've always been working from a masculine, buff, macho sort of, I gotta be strong sort of shit. I'm so fucking tired of having to be strong all the time. I'm tired of it. Fucking tired of it. So, if I can fucking get by existing in a way that isn't inherently damaging to me, I would prefer to do that, obviously. I feel like the normal person that's not, like, a masochist or traumatized and hate themselves would. So, yeah. We've just been conditioned to think that's wrong because capitalism. I fucking hate capitalism. I fucking hate it so much. I've written a rant about that. It might buy me a coffee behind the paywall. You can donate one time and get access to my very lengthy rant about why fucking capitalism sucks. That's the only plug I'll drop. For a minute. Anyways, I might be back tomorrow, I might be back in a week. We'll figure it out. I'll see y'all later.